City Council, and welcome to those of you who are here with us this afternoon. We'll begin with the invocation and then a pledge to the flag. The invocation today delivered by Morristown Police Department Chaplain Dr. Gary Brewster.
Thank you for this opportunity. Let's pray. Lord, I want to thank you that you're our God. I want to thank you that you are holy and awesome and that you care about every single thing that happens in this room tonight. Lord, I want to thank you also that every individual that has entered this room, that nobody has escaped your attention. But Lord, you care about each and every one of us, and you have a plan, not only for our town, but for everybody here. Lord, I pray that you would give us wisdom with everything we do. Lord, I want to thank you for the council members also that are here present. And Lord, I pray that you would speak to them, that they would feel your presence, that they would have your wisdom with the different decisions that they make. God, I pray that you would be with all of our first responders. Protect them. Lord, I pray that you would keep them out of harm's way as they keep us out of harm's way. Protect them. Give them wisdom for all that they're doing. Lord, we pray these things in your name, Jesus. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council members, let's check in. We have 6 present. You have before you the minutes of the December 3rd meeting. If there are no corrections, I would entertain a motion to be approved as written. Motion Ahern, we have a second. We have a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed, and the minutes are adopted. We have with us today a special guest for a special presentation, and we have with us the chief of the Oak Ridge City Police Department, Robin Smith, for a presentation today. And Chief Smith, I will turn this over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members, it's my honor to be here today. Thank you for the honor of appearing before you on behalf of the Tennessee Association of Chiefs of Police. And please accept my congratulations to the Morristown Police Department. I'd like to read from the certificate, if that's okay. It says, having fully demonstrated its commitment to professional law enforcement by recognizing their responsibility to their community and the citizens they serve and protect, and having embodied the best professional practices with integrity by proving their compliance with the Tennessee Law Enforcement Accreditation Program, the Tennessee Association of Chiefs of Police and its Board of Directors does hereby award this Certificate of Meritorious Accreditation. And this is the 4th award to the Morristown Police Department. I would like to present this to Chief Overholt.
He says, I'm going to get it. I'm not sure what that means.
Congratulations.
Well, we want to say congratulations to our police department and their administration. Accreditation is not an easy thing to receive and pass, and you have a lot of standards to meet. And when we brag about a lot of things in the city, the police department is certainly one of them. And especially the pressures of being in a high-profile position where always under the eyes of observers and folks who comment about your work, it's very difficult, and we're pleased that others across the state have recognized the work you do.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for your support.
We have a number of items on the agenda, and if you wish to speak at this time. Anybody in the audience who wishes to speak about items which are on the agenda, this will be the time to do it. We ask the comments be about agenda items only. If there's something you wish to be heard about that is not on the agenda, we'll have an opportunity for that expression later in this agenda. The rules are very minor and easy to understand. You got 3 minutes, and just identify yourself by name and address. The floor is now open. See no one come forward, we will close this portion of the meeting. Move on to the first item of business under the resolutions. The first one we have is Resolution 7-20. This is a resolution to adopt an improvement plan for traffic flow and infrastructure at Frank Marino Park. Tony, you might update us on this one.
A number of things are going on in that part of town with PDOT's project to enhance and improve 11E. They're closing some of the cross streets connecting between Morris and 11E. We've got a lot of development going on in the area. We need to look at how that's going to impact the entrance to our park, try and make that an improvement at the same time. So taking a lot of factors into consideration, we feel like this is a good time to review and make improvements in that area to make everything work a little better. This resolution sets that all in motion.
We have a motion for recommendation on Resolution 720. Motion Pettigo. Do we have a second? We do have a second. Any comments from the council? Are we ready to vote? Let's vote. And that motion carries. We have another resolution, which is 8-20, this being the resolution of this council to support a joint resolution of the Tennessee General Assembly, this for the purpose of restoring the emergency communications surcharge rate.
There's a lot of concern about long-term funding for 911 communications and those call centers. This resolution comes to you as a recommendation from the 911 board to support a request to the state to provide some additional funding that has been messed with in the past. You have a number of representatives on that board, including Chief Honeycutt, Deputy Chief Weiscarver, and Councilman Pettigo. Director Carpenter is also in the audience if you have any questions or concerns about the resolution. We feel like it's worthwhile to try and secure long-term funding for the operation we're recommending.
Do we have a motion to this recommendation?
Move for approval.
Motion Center. And we have a second. Any questions or comments?
Mayor, I would like to see us encourage other cities to do the same thing, because it would be very beneficial if this could be adopted by the legislature.
Anyone else? We ready to vote? Let's vote. And that motion carries. We have one ordinance up for first reading, this being ordinance number 3647, entitled an ordinance to close and vacate certain rights-of-way within the city. It's a portion of Dice Street public right-of-way south of the intersection of Lincoln Avenue, the general location being shown on the exhibit which is attached as Exhibit A in our packet. Josh?
Yes, Mayor. Mr. Scott Rooney, representing the Hamilton County Board of Education, is requesting, as you just noted, the right-of-way abandonment for an undeveloped portion of Dice Street. This public right-of-way is located south of West Hospital and just south of Lincoln Avenue, between the Senior Citizen Center and Douglas Cherokee's Mills on Billings. Dice Street was originally platted to extend beyond its current, existing endpoint at Lincoln Avenue to proceed all the way through the current campus of West Hospital to endpoint just south of Lincoln Avenue, that dashed portion you see on the left side of the screen there. However, this did not develop as originally platted and has resulted in this undeveloped portion of Dice Street, which is that grass strip on the right side of the screen. It is the understanding of staff that the Board of Education has reached an agreement with the neighboring owners to obtain this right-of-way for access for future development. They plan on the property to the south. Staff recommends approval of this request, and Planning Commission voted 9-0 in support of this right-of-way abandonment request last week. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading? Motion Smith. And we have a second. Any questions for Josh or anyone else in the planning department?
Just to clarify, again, reiteration, that is a secondary access road to the land that they plan to develop. Is that-
Yes, there's both, you have access off Dice, or I guess this is Dice Street off Lincoln Avenue and Sulphur Springs, so,
What was your recommendation?
in support of the request.
We ready to vote? Let's vote. The motion carries. This ordinance is set for a public hearing on January the 7th. We have a number of bids and contracts to discuss. The first being the approval to apply for the Walmart Local Community Grant for the fire department. This to be used for the purchase of child passenger seats.
As you're aware, we seek council's approval before we pursue grants, to make sure that you're willing to support any match and to support the program. Chief Honeycutt and the fire department are asking for approval to pursue a Walmart grant in support of a child passenger seat program they've had for some time. It's been a very successful program. We recommend approval.
Do we have a motion to the recommendation?
Move for approval.
Motion is Center. We have a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. And that motion carries. Next is also the approval to apply for the Walmart Local Community Grant for the Parks and Recreation Department. This to be used toward contracting with a trail specialist for Heritage Park and Franklin Reno Park.
Rec Department and Mr. Price are seeking your approval to make this application. As you indicated, this will be for the construction of trails in these two parks if we're successful in some other efforts. We're making the assumption that Chief Honeycutt doesn't get all the money, and Craig might be able to pick up a little bit along the way.
We'll let that go down. Do we have a motion to that recommendation?
So moved.
Motion Smith. Do we have a second? And is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, let's vote. And those motions carry. We'll let you, Craig, good luck on those. We'll see which one of you does better than the other, as far as the number of dollars. Next is the approval to accept recommendation from the Airport Commission for the request for proposals for this fixed base operator services.
Council created an airport commission to help manage the overall airport. That commission has gone out and sought proposals for a fixed base operator to manage our airport facilities. Based on the proposals, they've gone and done a review. They would recommend selection of Morristown Air Services to be selected as the top proposal, and would request the authority of the commission to enter into negotiations for contracts for that service.
Do we have a motion to accept that recommendation?
I make that motion.
Motion Garrett. Is there a second? We have a second. Does that need to include enter into negotiations? Most of them do.
Yes, the process would be, assuming you do ratify the selection, we go back to the commission for negotiations. Once they have a contract document that they're satisfied with, it will come back to council for final approval.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. And that motion carries. Next is the approval of the request for proposal submitted by East Tennessee Turf and Landscape. This for the East AJ Highway Tree Project, and is to allow our city administrator to enter into contract negotiations.
This is a state grant funded project that will allow us to do improvements on East AJ. East Tennessee Turf is the recommended proposal. We recommend that you do select them and authorize contract negotiations.
Do we have a motion to that?
So moved.
Motion Pettigo. And we have a second. Any questions or comments on that? We ready to vote? Let's vote. And that motion carries. Next is the approval of purchase order number 20001-423-01, the amount of $84,949.68. This for the purchase of de-icing salt per the statewide contract.
We're trying to gear up for the winter months ahead, and this salt will be used, as you know, to treat roads. It is a state contract. We recommend your approval.
Do we have a motion to this approval? Motion, Ahern, do we have a second? Do we have a second? Any questions? All right, let's vote. And that motion carries. Next is the approval of the agreement with AT&T for an easement at the corner of West 2nd North and Henry Streets for the purpose of installing new fiber infrastructure for the delivery of their service.
This would allow for construction of a small cabinet to manage some of their fiber resources at this intersection. We have looked at the potential construction review. We think this location will work. City attorney has reviewed the agreement. We recommend approval.
We have a motion with this recommendation.
Move for approval.
Motion centered. Do we have a second? Any questions or comments? Hearing none, let's vote. And that motion carries. Next is the approval of an inspection and maintenance agreement between the city of Morristown and Kawasaki, Tennessee Incorporated.
These agreements, as council is well aware, lay out the responsibilities of the city developer in maintaining the ongoing stormwater facilities that we require to be in compliance with our stormwater ordinance. This agreement's in order. We recommend approval.
We have a motion to that recommendation. Motion Smith. Do we have a second? And we have a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. And that motion carries. Next, we have one appointment, this to the Stormwater Violations Board. We have a term of David Wild expiring. He is willing to continue if nominated. Does the council have a nomination?
Mayor, I move that we reappoint David Wild. to this
Motion
board.
to appoint David Wild. Are there any other nominations?
I move they cease the elected acclamation.
All in favor of David Wild? Punch, yes. Okay. And David Wild goes back on, and we appreciate his willingness to serve. Next is, under new items, is the approval of a certificate of compliance, this for Chuck's Package Store. Is there someone here to speak on that one?
I can, Mr. Mayor. This is obviously an abbreviated process that we do on the state's behalf. So basically, all my investigation really is just doing the background check, making sure that there's no crimes of moral turpitude or felonies for that reason. And again, there's nothing to indicate that they're not eligible for the certificate of compliance.
If they were out of compliance, would you know it?
Well, the reason they've applied for the certificate of compliance is because they're originally going to purchase the package store. The state law, and legal can help me on that, has actually changed where we no longer have to do the renewals. So we wouldn't be privy to that now at all.
If they were out of compliance, we'd be hearing from ABC, is that right?
That's my understanding. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Do we have a motion to approve this certificate?
So moved.
Motion Pettigo. Do we have a second? Still looking for a second. Got a second. Any questions on this one? Let's vote. And that motion carries. We come to the city administrator's report, Tom.
A little earlier this afternoon, council was briefed on the annual audit. I'd like to invite Mr. Billy Robinson of Brown Edwards to come forward and talk a little bit about this year's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. As Mr. Cox mentioned, we presented to you all in great detail and probably ad nauseum earlier as we went through various components, et cetera. My name is Billy Robinson. I'm with Brown Edwards and Company. Again, we appreciate the opportunity to do the audit for the city. This is our fourth year conducting the audit for the city of Morristown. I'm happy to answer any questions. You'll have in your possession the comprehensive annual financial report, your comments on internal control, and then some other communications with those charged with governance. To summarize, we issued an unmodified or clean opinion on the financial statements. We had no significant journal entries or adjustments that were necessary to the city's financial statements for us to issue our opinion on those financial statements. We had no internal control findings. that rose to the level that they would require to be reported. We had no findings with regard to the testing of single audit, of federal expenditures, of federal awards that we're required to test, and we had no Tennessee compliance findings. So happy to answer any questions that you all may have, but probably heard enough from me earlier.
Just as a point, if I made the statement that we had a clean, clear audit with minor, very minor exceptions that you were talking to us earlier, that would be a true statement.
Absolutely correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Really, thank you. We appreciate the work you do, and I think it's a good reflection of our city administration and the financial staff, and our compliments to them as well.
Thank you all.
With the change of the calendar year upon us, I think we've got a lot to be proud of in the past year and a lot to look forward in the coming year, but in light of the holiday season, I will refrain from talking about that tonight and conclude my report.
Thank you, Tony. This is the time we open up the floor for communications from anyone on any topic that you believe needs to come before the council. Again, we'll remind you, this is not a question-answer session, but an opportunity to express your views on items you believe we need to hear about. Again, 3 minutes, name and address. The floor is now open.
Nigel Reed, 4265 Oakwood Circle. This is again concerning the fact that I've been trying for the past 5 years to get back into the Parks and Recreation. Council Lady Kay Sennis had told me over the phone that there should be a protocol to see about getting that done. Councilman Al Ahern had mentioned that Mr. Price was supposed to bring it up before the council. Director Craig Price had mentioned to me that he was going to bring it up before the council. But today, he tells me he's not going to be able to do that. He wants to talk to me after the meeting. Not saying to you council people, but it seems like Mr. Price might be giving me the runaround. I would like this corrected. Every last one of you are elected officials. Every last one of you, except for Mr. Councilman Ahern, had an opportunity to put one of these board members on the park board. Especially Council Lady Kay Sennis, who's been here going on 35 years. I don't know, is it 34?
Go ahead with your comments.
But I don't know. I know you've been in here for a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's like this. It could be 25, 35, whatever. I know it's.
You're using your time up.
No, that's okay. Because I have it. That's all I want. It's just the fact that I want their ban on me overturned. Now it's going to be on my Facebook, 100%. Those are the people that backed me up, voted for most of you up there. Now, wherever these board members work, or who they support, or the businesses, that's going to be put on my Facebook. Because I'm completely tired of being treated. I've been doing too much for this community, for the veterans, helping homeless people. We got 3 homeless people living in our apartment right now. To be treated like trash. That's how I feel. I feel like total trash and disrespected by that park board. It may be because they don't like me because of political issues. I don't know. They're not men enough or man enough to tell me, or woman enough to tell me what their problem is. Now, I know I sued Craig Price and his staff way back in the day, but I apologized to him.
Thank you, Nigel.
So that should be over.
And,
It's all right, New York, it's all good.
anyone else?
I think we just been through it.
Anyone else wish to? Okay.
No, I did not see like that. I didn't threaten you. I just wanted to point it out that they can vote you out. So I feel like I've been threatened.
Time's up. All right, Ms. Noe, go ahead.
Linda Noe, 2343 Joe Stevens Road. Like
But you heard that.
City
right?
Administrator Cox, I'll be brief, because what I have is I want to wish each of you all a very Merry Christmas. And as we get ready to start a new year, I have one request. Let's start taping your city council meetings as a gift to the public. Thank you.
Anyone else? We'll close this portion of the meeting and open it up for comments from the council and mayor. Council members?
I'd like to take a moment just to congratulate the police department for their certificate tonight. And really, I think I speak for all the board in that we appreciate how you all keep us informed of what's going on, because that sure does help. And I want to express my appreciation for that.
I want to wish all the employees a Merry Christmas, and all the council members a Merry Christmas. I think we've had a good year, had a good tree lighting. That was a good ceremony. I think a good decision on our part to have it at the farmer's market. Thank you for all you do for us. You're where the rubber meets the road.
I'd like to comment or compliment, here lately, it seems like every meeting we're getting some kind of award, and that speaks good of the staff. And I appreciate what the finance committee does, police department, fire department, Parks and Rec, and Public Works. All of you, it makes a great team, so appreciate what everybody does.
I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, prosperous New Year.
I would like to wish him Merry Christmas also.
I'd also like to pass along compliments again to the police department and also the finance department, Joe, for the work you do, and to Tony, for our city administrator, for the overall staff and management. Nigel, I would respond on yours. Your difficulties seem to be with the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, and I think that's where the solution needs to come from. I suspect they have told you what the reason is for the ban, but if your problem's with them, they're the ones you need to solve it with. We count on them to run Parks and Rec. We count on Director Price to run his department. If there's a problem that you need to correct, when they're satisfied that it's been corrected, then they'll make the decision you want.
Well, Mr. Price,
That's where that needs to be. If you want to speak further about it, I'll be available after this meeting, and if you like. But I think that's where I speak for myself. I know, and the council, I believe, views it that way as well. So we rely on them to make those kinds of decisions. Are there any other items to come before the council? If not, we will adjourn into the beer board. I entertain a motion the council adjourn.
So moved.